also have that.
I can't do it.
John,
But
you will love it.
I already have like so much between your Paramount Plus account and YouTube. That's like all I consume are drag queens, and I'm catching up on Legendary.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome to what episode is this? 6?
It's a season 1, episode 6 of Mean Girls Interrupted. And I'm John.
And I'm Travis.
And welcome to the podcast where
we talk about movies.
We've both watched a movie and we're going to talk about it.
We're going to give you a rundown. I was going to text John also. So sorry.
Yeah, we also do a lot of that. Sound effects. Listen, Linda. What I was trying to do this week was not have any burps, but guess what? It's clearly not happening. Look, I mean, if you drink a sparkling beverage, it's going to happen.
It's always going to happen.
Unavoidable.
Honestly, I wasn't actually going to have a sparkling beverage today for this. I was going to keep it simple, stupid. And I didn't. Because I'm stupid. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. If you're new here, hi, welcome. We don't know how you found us, but go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Subscribe, follow us, even
give us a review.
Send us an email in the description below or wherever that is.
Yeah, there's going to be
up, down, around.
Yeah, look in the description below. Our email is going to be in there. It's meangirlsinterrupted@gmail.com. We also want to.
So if you after listening to this, if you feel like you really want us to talk about a certain particular movie that we wouldn't otherwise think about doing, drop us a line.
Yeah, drop us a line.
And we'll get to it.
Yeah, send us an app. Send us your links. Send us your LinkedIn profile.
Send us your OnlyFans.
No, you keep that. I can find everything I want on Twitter. Thank you.
Yeah, right. I'm not paying for it.
Absolutely,
okay?
Dude. Look, good for all of you. We love that hustle and flow, ho. We love that for you.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to pay for it because I just don't listen. I
do my shopping elsewhere.
I do my shopping on plants.
Right.
That's my porn.
So speaking of plants, Travis.
Oh, John, you said you went to go get some.
Yes. So we got a couple more plants last week, and we're living large, and the squirrel that terrorizes our terrace is back with a vengeance. And we use a deterrent spray that's like rotted eggshells.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Raid.
Eggshells and it's like beef's blood, like fermented dried blood, like powder into. It's supposed to like deter them, and it was working for a very long time, and it smells horrible.
John,
it smells like death.
That is what
it for sure smells like something that would come out of like a witch's brew, for sure, Z's.
Oh,
but I feel like it's developed a tolerance to it because it's like. It's now just like rolling. We got a squirrel that probably has monkeypox rolling around, terrorizing the yard and or our little terrace. But anyway, it's still looking great.
Is it? The plants are good.
Yeah, with like flowers and stuff.
John, what did you get? Can I ask?
I don't know what they are.
Okay, so let me tell you something, John. This is my new favorite plant.
What?
I've had it for a while now. But the more I look at it, her name is Flaming Katie.
Does it look like a Flaming Katie?
John, it is. It's okay. So it's the succulent with the prettiest pink miniature flowers growing all over this bitch.
Oh, I love those like succulents. Does it grow like a really long stalk with like a little flower at the tip?
No little flower. It's covered in flowers.
Oh,
and they're called Flaming Katies. Look them up. Not only is that the best drag name, welcome to the stage, Flaming Katie.
For sure. And were you just like sold on the name and you had to have it?
Honestly, I didn't know the name until I brought it home because I pay for this app. It's called Plantin. This is so boring for all of you guys. We're going to get into our movie in a little bit.
To like sponsor an episode.
Oh, Plantin, if you want to. So I pay for this app. It's like, I believe $30 a year, which to me is totally worth it because I can identify any plant. I can understand how toxic it is because I have a vegetarian cat that will eat these. So I know how high I have to put them if I buy them. Pets. Yes.
Unless you wanted to not have it traced back to you.
Honestly, I really don't want it to trace back to me, but we know because there are chomps.
It's like that movie. It's like that movie White Oleander, where it's like, I don't know, I just growing some oleanders outside, and oops, he's dead. That's the premise of the movie. Spoiler alert.
Oh, by the way, oleanders are very poisonous, everyone. So if you want to make a tea out of it, we didn't recommend it, and it will come back to you because I listened to that on a true crime podcast. Some woman tried to kill her husband with oleander tea. Didn't work. She did make him very sick.
Got really sick.
Oh,
probably just got sick.
No, he actually was like virtually on his deathbed.
Wow.
They're incredibly poisonous.
Yes.
So, but anyway,
speaking of killing husbands.
Yeah. Killing husbands, killing boyfriends,
significant others.
And witches brew.
In Witch's Brew, we've been building this up since the beginning 6 minutes ago, Travis.
Yeah, none of you guys knew this. I didn't either.
Today, we are discussing a very popular film, which is a
cult classic.
A cult classic about the occult. And it's called Practical Magic.
Mike.
And if you thought there are a lot of A's in that title, there are.
Practical Magic. Okay.
There are no fewer than 3 A's in the title Practical Magic.
It didn't get an A.
Some would argue, some would fight you on that. I feel like this movie has a passionate following. And it eludes me. It eludes me.
I'm not really. I'm going to. Okay, we'll get into it later. But do you want to get into the movie first?
Yeah, let's get into the movie first. Okay, so just a little technical rundown. The runtime is 104 minutes, which I believe is too long for this movie.
Honestly, John, no, I have to disagree with you.
Okay.
And I will. And here's why. Because, John, it felt like it went by very quick when I was watching it.
I mean,
but that's because I didn't know what to focus on, I think.
I mean, it's such like an ADD movie for me. Because,
it is.
It came out in 1998, and it looks like it.
Oh.
Because, I mean, we have Nicole Kidman.
Hot.
We got Sandra Bullock.
We have to go back. We have Nicole Kidman with her natural red hair. You guys, she looks incredible.
This is the best she's looked. I feel like this era of Nicole Kidman is the best she's looked. Like this isn't my favorite acting project era of Nicole Kidman, but this is like peak Nicole Kidman she's not in the Tom Cruise wifey mode anymore. She's coming into her own, and I feel like this was a great career role for her, and I have more to talk about that in a bit.
Okay, but I do have to touch base. Nicole and Sandra, look, they literally couldn't.
Sandra Bullock looks amazing in this movie.
So, and I'm not kidding.
It was distracting to me. Like, it didn't matter.
Hot,
but also, as many qualms as I have with the writing and the directing and the premise and the choices, like their level of like Hollywood acting, Sandra and Nicole in this movie, is very high quality, like from an objective standpoint. Did you notice that too? Where John, I was like, they're actually acting their fucking faces off in this movie, and they didn't even have to.
No, they didn't. But guess what? I fully appreciate it, which, John, is why I believe it has a cult following, because they did what they could with the material, and they have incredible chemistry together.
Oh yeah, like it was
their chemistry was so good.
There are countless scenes, because Sandra Bullock is the actual protagonist of the film. You would argue it's a dual protagonist, but
no,
like technically,
I don't think I would argue.
Is the lead.
I don't think I would argue.
Nicole is supporting for sure.
She's supporting.
But so, like, she's doing a lot of heavy lifting on her own, but it's mostly Sandra Bullock's movie.
It's her story.
And so, and she's like making all the choices that drive the story along.
Essentially, yeah. Oh, she does. Absolutely.
So, but there are so many scenes with Sandra Bullock in them where like it could totally fall on its fucking face, but she like does these like Hollywood actress gymnastics. Like she's such a skilled performer that she pulls it off. Did you notice that too? Like I was like admiring it while I was watching it. I was like, I thought I was going to cringe right now, but like, look at her go.
No, she does really well with everything she's given.
Like there's
John, she did Speed too.
that's she did, which I saw in the movie theaters. By the way,
no! Did you ask for your money back?
No, because I was a kid. It was like 1997. It was probably around the time that this movie came out. Like
this movie came out the following year.
Okay, yeah, because it was so this movie came out in 1998. It is PG-13. It is considered a comedy, drama, and fantasy.
It has a lot.
I would argue the comedic aspect of that.
I didn't think it was funny.
No, I mean, they didn't even. I mean, I feel like they had to because Sandra Bullock was very much a funny gal at this point.
So they were like slap some comedy in it. It wasn't funny.
Yeah,
it was romantic comedy-ish.
Man, they looked so good,
dude.
Like they are so pretty. Like they are beautiful actresses.
I wanted to be Nicole Kidman.
And you know what I hate about this? And I really hate whenever movies cast leading men that don't measure up to the beauty of like the leading lady.
Wait, John.
Can we talk about it? And can we talk about this?
We can, but I have to disagree with you.
I know Aidan Quinn. Okay, so
I was here for both of them.
I know, but
Aidan Quinn, I absolutely was.
Aidan Quinn in Legends of the Fall is like delicious to look at, but that was like 6 years earlier. This is like an Aidan Quinn in 1998 who he like obviously has some kind of like an alcoholism problem.
Dude, he is a hot ass dad. I will.
Yeah, but he doesn't measure up to Sandra. He doesn't deserve a Sandra Bullock.
I think it's because they lived in that really small town and her husband had just been killed.
Also, her husband who's killed was way more attractive than Aidan Quinn.
John, let's talk about them apples flying up in the air. Should we move in? Should we move into this movie?
Okay, so we're going to get down to the plot right here. Okay, this whole thing is directed by Griffin Dunne or Dune, and who cares? And produced and released by Warner Brothers. So
it didn't. By the way, it did not make its money back.
Not initially, no. But
it didn't make its money back initially. It was. It's technically a flop.
It's technically a giant flop because the budget for this. Do you know the budget?
It was like 70-something million, and I think they only
$75 million.
They only made $68 million. Or was it less?
It was less because in their opening weekend, they only made $13 million.
I saw that and I was like,
with the Sandra Bullock.
John, it opened at number one though. It opened at number one at the box office, but it flopped immediately after.
Well, I guess $13 million is a good box office opening. I'm just thinking nowadays it's like huge because of like the superhero movies, but like I guess for back in the day, $13 million opening is actually really good.
But it did open at number one, but it tanked like immediately.
People were just like, what the fuck did we just watch? Because that's how I was feeling while it was happening. And this is why. So this whole movie, it starts with, let me just pull up my little synopsis here as a guide. So just to be brief about it. So,
I have an idea. Why don't we give the brief breakdown of the synopsis and maybe go through the
So sisters. So there's sisters here. Sally Owens, played by Sandra Bullock, and Gillian Owens, played by Nicole Kidman. They have a special bond with each other despite being different in personality and outlook. And they grow up with their spinster aunts, Aunt Frances.
Love the aunts.
The aunts were like gay icons in my opinion.
They still are.
Because it's Stockard Channing.
Yeah, they still are, right?
And Diane Weist playing Aunt Jet, which is a cool name.
They're amazing.
Yeah, like they're like the hocus pocus spooky ooky, like
witches,
spinster ladies, witches, and the longtime Owens family house on an island off the coast of Massachusetts following the death of their father and then their mother. So they're orphans, and they are the latest in a long line of witches, and rumors of the Owens women being witches have existed for generations in the small, close-minded town in which they live, and despite there being no hard evidence, of them being witches. So it's like a rumor.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're a witch.
Right. And so the Owens women are also under a curse that any man with whom they fall in love is doomed, which is an element that I completely forgot about, but they do explore that.
They do explore it, and it is a curse that exists, as we find out.
Another curse that exists in this movie is like so much happening all the time. There's like so much happening.
By the way,
like so much happens in that first 5 minutes that I'm like, where are we going?
Well, this movie is based off of a novel of the same name, I believe. So if you all want to read the book, you can. I believe the novel is called Practical Magic. So I don't know what they chose to include from the book or how far they strayed from the source material, but
I don't even know.
It has its moments.
Yeah. But anyway, so with this experience, extroverted Jillian Nicole Kidman decides to leave the island to live life to the fullest. In the process, falling for Jimmy Angelov, played by Goran Visnik of, I think, ER fame.
He's hot.
Yeah.
And so he's hot. But do you want to know what?
He's like dangerous.
I did not know that he was in ER, and I'm not joking. I seriously thought this movie was only for him to get his SAG card.
Oh,
I've never seen him before.
But he reads more like Southwestern, but in the movie, he's a Bulgarian who grew up near Transylvania, just to add some ooky spooky. But the more introspective Sally, Sandra Bullock, who has sworn off the use of magic except in its most practical sense, has taken measures not to fall in love because of the curse, but ends up falling for and marrying Michael. And he's a local merchant.
Who's the actor? Do you know?
It's Mark Fierstein.
Do we know if he's been in anything else, like porn?
I mean, it looks like he should have had a better career there. But like the two who end up having 2 daughters of their own. So Sandra has 2 daughters of their own, and the curse works its way into Jillian's and Sally's lives in different ways. The outcomes of the curse on their collective lives becomes more complicated with the arrival in town of Tucson police detective Gary Hallett, played by Aidan Quinn, whose arrival is not by accident and involves more than just his stated professional purpose. So that's like the brief rundown. And so what actually ends up happening in the movie in like the first 5 minutes, like Sandra Bullock as a child sends off this love letter spell, like wishing for the most obscure, impossible man to exist so that she'll never fall in love.
She honestly could have said, she should have said financially stable, which a lot of men are, but also mentally sound.
Very giant life insurance policy, because like it's a guaranteed death sentence.
Yeah, somebody, right? But I don't know why
she keeps lining them up. I would be lining them up and just cashing in those checks.
That was a dumb wish.
Before we actually fall in love, you gotta attach my direct deposit.
Here's the thing.
Because you're going to die, your days are numbered.
Listen, she asked for him to have one blue eye and one green eye. And I would have said, I want him blind.
That's not an impossibility, by the way.
No. Plus, I don't want him to be able to see. I'm going to steal his watch. You make him blind. You can make him as attractive as you want, but he cannot see. Plus, how would he get there if he were blind? I guess that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. But it's like, but whatever happened. So I knew this movie was for me trouble, because whenever in the first 5 minutes, if we skip to Sandra Bullock being like this jaded adult who is stuck with these 2 kids after her. Oh no! Wait, no! That doesn't happen first. What happens is she's like doomed to be a spinster forever and unhappy because she's not falling in love because she's sworn off love. But then the aunts do a love spell to connect her with a local merchant, and she's like gardening, and then she just like stands up, walks
John
speed walks into town and starts making out with her future husband in the middle of the street.
John, the clock.
And they never question it.
Here's the thing. I know exactly when this happened because she was gardening and they made sure that she was in the shortest shorts possible. They wanted her to look super hot. And I was like, who is this movie for? Then the sound.
She wasn't really short.
She was in shorty shorts. She was in coochie cutters, dude. Like for real. So
pockets hanging out, honey.
Oh, pockets hanging out. Not just pockets, but like beef.
Pockets, honey.
Like hot pockets. So, anyway, some bell tolls and she runs from the dirt immediately. And just like you said, she makes out with homie in the street. And I said, where did this come from?
I know it comes so arbitrary. I'm like, what? And then, but like also like the soundtrack that they were selling alongside this movie is playing. You know what I mean?
They had like 3 Stevie Nicks
to Practical
songs.
Magic right here. But like, anyway, so she has 2 children with this guy, but he kicks the bucket in the campiest way possible.
Oh,
he fully is like staring at nothing in the sky and
fucking Tour de France
into the middle of the road.
Wanders into the middle of the road. Yes.
And the Tour de France does come by.
It's all bikers. It's some weird bike thing out of nowhere. And he's like, whoa. And then the whole time you're like, whoa. And then you think he's going to get it by the bikes. All the bikes go by and he's like, whoa. Like, oh, I made it. And then
gets hit by a fucking truck.
And all of these green apples fly everywhere. And then afterwards lands a crumpled up dolly, metal dolly. You guys, it is the campiest. This is when I knew. This is when I knew this movie didn't know what it was.
So he's dead. And by the way, we've gotten like 0 character development at this point in time. Like we don't know what the main story plot is. And it's been like 10 minutes of like random fucking shit happening. So
it doesn't even matter. And the townspeople are all scared. Every time that women are in the street, they all run away.
Even though they're like the most normal looking witches in the world. But like
they're actually the prettiest fuckers on earth.
Yeah, like they're just like the best looking on the island. But anyway, so Sandra Bullock is like distraught. She's like, fuck, I'm stuck with these 2 children. One who is played by a very young Evan Rachel Wood, if you didn't notice that.
Oh, I did. I absolutely noticed.
She looks exactly the same.
Oh, she has not changed at all. Also, Camilla Bell as a young
Sandra Bullock
was
so as
really
children,
good casting.
I know, because Camilla Bell as a kid does look like
it was really good casting.
Yeah. So anyway, but
sorry, we're just bringing up people you might know now that were in this movie. You'll be like, what? Throwback?
Yeah. And so Sandra Bullock is like, I'm never falling in love again. And why did you guys put a spell on me to fall in love with this guy? And was it real love to begin with? And so
it was. He died.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so she's stuck with 2 kids, whatever. She basically gets a phone call from Nicole Kidman one night. Right?
She gets.
Is that how that goes?
Okay, so do you mind if I jump in?
There. Yeah, please, because it's kind of muddy for me right now.
Let me just jump in real quick on this point because at this point, Sandra Bullock's character is taking her 2 kids. They're now living with the aunts, just like Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock's characters did when they were children. So Nicole Kidman's character, whose name is what? Jillian. They call her what? Jelly? Who cares?
I think they call her Nicole Kidman in the movie.
So they call her Nicole. So Nicole is out doing her thing her whole life. And she calls Sandra. She's like, I need your help. Basically my boyfriend, yada, yada, come and help me. So she goes to Tucson. She picks up Nicole. The boyfriend is there.
She goes to Tucson.
Yeah.
She goes to Tucson and shows up in like 2 fucking seconds.
I don't know how she got there, but she is magic. She's a magical person, so we have to assume.
They are going back and forth from Tucson to like a remote island off the coast of Massachusetts pretty fucking quickly in this movie.
Also, it's so far, it would not take one sunset for her to get there. And that's basically how they painted it. It took her one sunset to get to Tucson from Massachusetts, and that's days worth of driving. So she gets there. She picks up Nicole. Nicole is hurt because
Nicole is like, so they are like in this flop house motel, and like
Oh.
Nicole Kidman is like strung out, I'm assuming, on drugs, actually.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Nicole, they like gloss over the fact that Nicole Kidman is like on crystal meth in this movie.
Do you think she is?
She was strung out in the corner. She was like talking, like chattering all crazy.
Honestly, true. And the 90s were big on meth.
She was on some shit that they never acknowledged.
She definitely was doing some drugs.
She was acting it. It was coming across in the acting.
Well,
she scoops up Nicole Kidman, but guess what? This abusive husband from the ER guy, he like holds him at gunpoint. He's like, get in the car, and basically
no. Because what happens is, I'm going to tell you right now, no, that's not what happened. So they're about to get in Sandy's car, and Nicole is like, I left my charm in Homeboy's car, her boyfriend's car. So she goes over to the car to go get her charm. She was like, I need my charm, my necklace. So she goes in there. He's in the car waiting for her and pulls her in to the back seat of his car. He's waiting.
Right.
It's very urban legend of him. And so anyway, that's when he forces Sandy and them to drive together.
Yeah, that was a moment that was like didn't make sense logically to me. I'm like, why? What's going on
why
here?
was he waiting in the car?
Was he in the back seat? Like
he was anticipating her missing her necklace.
Yeah, it was very like ooky spooky villain, and like so they're in his car and they're driving somewhere.
I don't know where they're driving. Where are they supposed to be driving?
He's like wasted, and
he's trying to brand Nicole.
Yeah, so he tries to like brand Nicole, but then Sandra Bullock's like, "No, I'm the hero of this story," and like whatever, and then something happens.
She grabs the alcohol. There's an alcohol bottle. So there's an alcohol. So Nicole Kidman's boyfriend, the character's boyfriend, is drinking, and he's like, he tells Sandra, you need to have a drink of this, yada, yada. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, okay, whatever. And then he starts heating up his ring, which is a skull, and he's going to brand Nicole. So Sandra takes the drink from him and she's like, fine, I'll do it, because she doesn't want her sister getting hurt.
Right.
Well, it turns out Sandra Bullock's character has, is it like a nightshade or some sort of?
She slips him up some kind of
it's like a witch thing.
It's a witchy poison sedative thing to just knock him out a little bit.
But she overdoes it.
Yeah, she slips it into, because she hasn't done this in a while.
She hasn't. She's very rusty.
Yeah. So like she sneaks it into the bottle, hands the bottle back. He takes it. He passes out, but it was too much.
And he might be dead now.
Yeah.
Might be dead. He's fully dead.
Full dead. But then they somehow cut to little island on Massachusetts. How did they drive onto the island with his car, by the way, from Tucson?
They drove so quick with that dead body all the way back to Massachusetts.
All the way back to their aunt's house in Massachusetts. With a dead body.
With a corpse that fully would have started rotting by the time they got there.
Yeah. And
he was still looking good. He was a 10 still.
But the thing is, like, the conversation that they're having sort of overlaps from that car scene to the Massachusetts back home with the dead body scene. The family with the girls and everything, the two aunts, the two girls are away on a vacation or something. And like so they have the house to themselves, and boy, do they get into some hijinks.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, because what's the reason I missed it? What's the reason Nicole Kidman is like, we need to bring him back? Is it because they need to bring him back so they're not accused of murder?
Honestly, it kind of escapes me, but I know that they weren't supposed to use that spell, because after Sandy's husband died, she wanted her aunts to bring him back, and they said he won't come back the same. Okay. So that's a driving point in this.
You can't bring people back from the dead and it'd be all good.
It's like they never saw Pet Sematary.
Yeah. That would have been a funny line though in this comedy.
Yeah.
It would have been like one of the
this
like, haven't you ever
comedy.
Haven't you seen Pet Sematary?
Haven't you seen Pet Sematary? You don't bring people back. And Nicole's like, I don't care what he comes back. You saw what he did to me when he was alive. Yeah, so basically they're like, he's a piece of shit now. He'll be a piece of shit when he comes back.
Right. So they work this magical curse spell to bring back Nicole's abusive boyfriend, and he does come back and like immediately tries to kill Nicole, which I'm like, he was already going to do that anyway. So like, what's so different?
Yeah. Nothing changed. They were right. Yeah. Nothing changed.
So like he immediately tries to strangle Nicole Kidman to death. And so they immediately have to kill him again for a second time.
Sandra Bullock uses... She picks up that frying pan from This Is Your Brain on Drugs, and she kills him with the frying pan.
Who's that? He goes full Rachel Lee Cook on him.
Yes, she pulls that bitch out and says, "This is your brain on drugs," and that would have been another
funny line for this comedy.
Why, John? Should we write the remake? By the way, there were supposed to be some remakes and prequels, and they didn't come to fruition. Just FYI.
I'm glad, but anyway, so now they have this second dead. He's dead for a second time. What are they going to do?
They've killed him twice now. They bury his body.
Yeah, they bury his body in like the most conspicuous part of the backyard, and somehow nobody notices.
Yeah, they put him in basically a glass box. They don't. They put him in like a shallow grave in the backyard.
Yeah, and then the children and the aunts come home like the next day, and nobody knows that there's an unmarked grave in the backyard because it like, I don't know anyway.
Well, no, they know something's afoot because the aunts are basically like, take care of your problem.
Yeah. And then like they try to make like life go on in a weird way that I found interesting in the story. It's like, what are we doing here? They go into like the whole dynamic between Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, like being sisters and like a sisterly rift. Like we're at odds and we have so much between us and we're total opposites. And I'm done cleaning up your messes, Nicole. And then she's like, well, you're afraid of love, Sandra.
Oh, it's incredibly... Weird. If none of this is making sense to any of you, it's because
in the movie.
We really can't make sense of the movie.
Right, because they start going into like these witchy moments of like sisterly bonding, like witchy sisterly bonding with the aunts. Like there's the whole lime and the coconut song.
The lime and the coconut. Also, can I tell you, during that scene, I actually have something to tell you. Is Nicole Kidman brought that tequila that they're drinking, and it's real tequila, and it's also supposedly it was very bad. Horrible tequila that she brought to set for that specific scene. So as you're saying, they do have these magical moments.
We're watching actual drunk actors.
We are. We're watching. It's not acting at that point. They are fully experiencing a hangover the next day.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman they were probably just like, you know what? This movie is fucking ridiculous. Like, whatever. Like, I could also get the vibe that the actresses were just like not very committed because it's not a movie that you should take seriously.
Well, they took it pretty seriously.
I guess in moments, but as far as their commitment as professional actors, yes. But I feel like maybe the outside mindset was like, this is a career thing. Like this is like getting us lots of money and whatever.
It's for real. It's a paycheck movie.
But through this lime and the coconut sequence where the Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman, and the aunts are dancing around at midnight and getting shit-faced.
Midnight margaritas, they said.
Midnight margaritas, which leads into them having a realization, a spooky realization that the body that they buried isn't quite dead. And so whenever they meddled and brought him back to life, and then tried to kill him again, they didn't kill his spirit. They just killed his body. Yep. And guess what? Now some sheriff from Tucson is driven onto an island
to find them.
And he's on their case.
The thing is, though, is like, how did they know? How the hell did he even know?
To go all the way there.
At this point in 98.
It makes no sense. And also he has zero jurisdiction in Massachusetts.
He has none. He's not an investigator for their.
He isn't even partnering with the Massachusetts Police Department. But he is fully detectiving and going into this. And he has no like real personal drive to be doing this, but he just like uprooted whatever situation he had going on, and in Tucson to be here, but then it also could be magic.
Could it be? And it could be.
Because guess what he's got? He's got one green eye and he's got one blue eye, which reads on screen as the same color eye.
John, did you notice that when they got one part where it was close up, it looked like they had tried to use some CGI to make one of the eyes green, and it looked real off.
It just looked like more green than the other one.
I said, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I feel like that's like the 90s color palette, because it was like this really saturated, colorful, like late 90s color palette. Like
it was
really saturated greens, really saturated reds, contrasted with like black and deep purples. Like, yeah, it was very late 90s in that color scheme for sure.
So I do want to say this, like, in the sense that, yes, he showed up, but also we still now have that storyline of Sandra being like fucking falling in love.
Yeah, so she has to fall in love with this sheriff guy, and it's at the it's sort of like being manipulated by the children who find her sort of journal or whatever and discover that this sheriff guy could be the person that child Sandra Bullock called out to the world to come to Massachusetts and fall in love with.
Also, those kids are fully okay with their biological dad having been hit by a diesel. They do not feel sad at all.
Yeah, they're not like, I miss daddy at all at any point in time.
They just accept it at face value. They're like,
it was fate, it's a curse. And
right? Yeah. They're like, it was bound to happen.
And also, they're so ready to perpetuate that curse by sort of like, they do like this whole like flouncy sort of hijinksy, like trying to matchmake the mom and the sheriff guy by like whatever.
Whatever kid hijinks they do.
Yeah. And trying to bring them
Parent
together.
Trap.
It is very like Parent Trap,
but like also story. Not. It's like a little Parent Trap moment, and then it kind of disappears. Like
yeah, so he like they fall in love with each other despite all the things around them going on. But meanwhile,
which is also nothing and everything.
It's also nothing and everything, because what's going on are arbitrary little squibbles between Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, just for like riffs and conflict here and there that don't make sense. But like and they really come out of nowhere.
They really do. You see Nicole Kidman's character. She goes to some PTA meeting.
Yeah, if I were Sandra Bullock, I'd be like, bitch, I just saved your fucking life twice.
Yeah. Well, she goes to a PTA meeting because the people at the parent teacher will not accept Sally, Sandy's character.
Yeah.
And she creates this magic. She's a witch. So her sister
gets her. Yeah. So Nicole Kidman shows up being a slutty little slut. And then she's like, oh, me, I'm just going to sit down in this PTA meeting.
And then she helps her sister become part of this like phone call list.
Which
plays a point later in the movie.
Which I appreciated the payoff, but actually, she becomes the top. She becomes the top of the calling tree, which I think I
didn't know. Was that a thing that existed?
We had one in our family because we had such a huge family. Like if somebody died, it was like one person's responsibility to call this person's responsibility to call that person, and a little trickle down. It was basically like a pyramid scheme of communication.
So yes, it was a okay. Yes, I get it.
And so like they, anyway, so she does a little twinkle of her toes and magically puts Sally's name at the top of the list, and nobody questions it.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, what?
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, Nicole Kidman starts to become possessed by the spirit, the now demonic spirit of her ex-boyfriend. And she's in a bad way. She's in a very bad way.
Oh, she is. She's sitting on that bed. It's very Exorcist. And in that moment,
like Sexorcist though. She's giving us sex.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Like moaning. She's like glistening with sweat, still looking beautiful, but with her eyes closed.
Oh, her eyes are closed. Oh, she's wearing the shortest skirt.
She's like, all I can do is just like tussle on this bed a little bit.
Well, she starts floating. She levitates out of the bed. And then Sandra Bullock's new boyfriend, who is the sheriff, sees this happen. He's like, oh my God, you guys are witches. Also, there's a demon. And then he uses what? His he uses star, his badge. He uses
his cartoon character sheriff's badge. This comically large silver star. And it works as sort of like a cross, a sign of protection. And we think kills the demonic spirit of the ex-boyfriend. But guess what? No. In a turn of events, no.
He comes back stronger. And that is when they invoke that tree. They invoke that calling tree. And Sandy's like, hey, whores, I need your help.
And you know why? Because Stalker Channing is like, wow, we're going to need a lot more women to do this magic.
Even if they're not witches, it doesn't matter. They need women. So they invoke the calling tree from the PTA, and all these skanks from the town who hate these women for being witches show up.
For some reason, they show up.
They show up even though
with brooms.
They do. One of them. Did you notice Homegirl
who comes with a dustbuster?
She comes with a dustbuster. Also, she is a funny bitch, and she plays the mom in Just Friends.
Oh, right, that is her.
She plays the mom in Just Friends, and I can never remember the actress's name. Yeah,
yeah, but also whenever all these actresses get together to form like this little spell circle around Nicole Kidman, you realize that this Warner Brothers movie shelled out for like the female character actresses of the 90s.
Of the time, because it was all familiar faces.
It was all your familiar faces from all of your favorite funny like character actresses and high concept rom-coms, lighter fare movies. And you're like, oh, I know that girl. Don't know her name.
I recognize her from literally everything, but I cannot put a name to the face. And that's how that circle went.
Yeah, but my lizard brain recognizes that she's made me giggle once or twice.
Yes, exactly.
So I like her. But anyway, so they form this circle, and it's a very dramatic scene of like the town women coming together to save Nicole Kidman's soul.
Basically, they do.
And they do. Through the power of suggestion.
Through the power of suggestion and studio money.
Yeah, and so it works and then kind of fails, but then Sandra Bullock steps into the circle, and they do this like sisterly bond, like blood brothers handshake, and then the cheesiest thing happens. Do you remember this?
When his spirit flies out and turns into like dust, like glitter.
Right before that.
No.
It's basically just a wheel of cheese from here on out, but it's
sharp cheddar.
The moment that the spirit like leaves Nicole Kidman's body, they do this thing where it's like a close-up shot like of Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, and then this big flash of bright light happens, and like somebody with a wind tunnel is like right off camera doing like a blast of air in their hair, and like this big they both get like blasted with wind.
I don't remember that, John. I think I had stopped. I think my brain had stopped.
Yeah, it's like and they both like do this whole like surprise. And then they just look at each other and they're like, it's over. And then
that is truly how it is. They're like, don't forget, all of those brooms they brought came in handy because they have to sweep his dust outside.
Right. So he breaks into a big pile of ash on the ground, and they're like, let's get to sweeping, girls. And in pure domestic housewife fashion, they all sweep him in like a train-like formation out into the lawn in the yard, and then they dump a big old cauldron of juice on him, which smokes and stuff, and then he's vanquished forever.
Honestly.
But the music that plays while they're doing the sweep through the house and outdoors of the ash, the demon ash.
They should have done Lime and a Coconut for that one.
But it's like the cheesiest 90s rom-com, like uplifting, like symphony ever.
John, the whole thing. Also, somehow that happens, and then it's Halloween and they jump off a roof.
They float down from a roof. I'm like, that's
and the
it?
townspeople all cheer and clap. All the townspeople who were afraid before showed up to their house to watch all these witches float down, and so the movie ends.
They turned around. They've bonded with the townsfolk, and then the movie ends with Sandra Bullock kissing Aidan Quinn, and then it freeze frames, and then it rolls credits, and I'm like, he's gonna die because of the curse.
Also, can we just... So, fun fact about all those townspeople, those people were actually not actors or extras. They were people from the town they were filming part of the movie in. So
really?
Yes, the exterior of that house, they filmed a lot of that movie in Los Angeles, but the exterior was built purely for the movie.
That's expensive.
So they were doing just an exterior, which ends up, and I can't remember where it was. If the exterior was in California and the interior was in the location, I can't remember. I don't think they filmed in Massachusetts, though. I think they filmed it in Washington.
Not. Yeah,
and they invited the townspeople of this town where they were filming the movie to come as they are, come for this Halloween scene, for them to all stand around and be a part of the movie.
Extras, so you kind of get that vibe, but I'm just like.
It was it was very hokey pokey, hocus pocus.
It was very hokey pokey, hocus pocus. But I have to ask you, so that's the movie, guys.
That's the movie. For all of you. It was muddled. It's fine.
What were your thoughts generally? I know we got some throughout, but
I'm going to say this generally. Now, I'm part of one of those people who enjoys it for what it is. I can also look at it objectively and be like, this movie's not good. But the movie itself, if you guys are looking for a good movie,
look elsewhere.
This isn't a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
I guess it is fun in a way, but
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And I don't think that it actually matters, It was like, I feel like I think it was self-aware enough not to go too earnest, but they get pretty earnest at points.
John, I think they were really trying for something here, but it didn't pan out because to me, it felt like there was a bunch of choppy bits. The whole love interest thing. They could have chopped the love interest thing and added this poltergeist situation and made it scarier. I would have enjoyed it way more.
It's almost like at any point in time that they weren't focusing on like a love story of some sort with Sandra Bullock, it would almost be like going off track in your mind a little bit, and then being like suddenly reminded that there's like, oh, sorry, this is not spooky. This is actually just a rom-com.
That is why I text you and I was like, this movie is everywhere and nowhere. It makes.
It goes off on these tangents, and then it just and then it abruptly pulls you right back to the rom-com, and you're like, what's going on here?
John, it's like sound waves. It's like what we're looking at as we record this. There's so many, it takes you off of a straight line. It can be going one way and just it's wild. But the whole time, the whole plot focuses around a dead guy.
Romantic comedy, for sure. It
should have just focused on the dead boyfriend. We don't need. I didn't care for the rest.
But I mean, I think for 1990, I mean, they just had. I mean, they had like. I think it was like they wasted the talent of like Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman in the movie.
They did because they had for real. Whoever wrote this, whoever adapted this.
Yeah,
I know they were trying, and sure, things probably got cut out. I'm going to assume a lot was left
because so it was based on the novel by Alice Hoffman, and this thing has 3 different screenplay writers.
Oh, okay. The thing is,
I'm sure it went through rewrites and different cuts and reshoots and all the shit to make it work as a studio movie.
It also felt very cut up because I truly think it would have been longer. And I think they probably had more of the dead boyfriend. They were like, let's add Aidan Quinn in here.
Yeah, because he's sort of like an arbitrary, disjointed villain who resolves a little too easily, in my opinion.
He said, you guys are going to need a really good lawyer. Also, let me go ahead and mac it with you on this bed as we look at pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
They're making out fully after he tells her to get a good lawyer. And she's like, okay, fine. I did kill him. And then And then he's okay.
They do like this weird passionate kissing that I'm like, ew.
They play some tonsil hockey. He's like, fine, I know you're a murderous witch, but you know what? You have...
But it's still kind of hot.
Yeah. He's like, you got a sweet ass.
And never once was there the practical conversation about the two children and assuming responsibility for these two almost teenage girls.
Honestly, don't you think it was a little weird that she chose to have them all move back into the aunt's house? She's like, they're not learning magic. It's like you fully have a house of your own and you're not working. Like if you're working at your shop, you're working, and which was weird and arbitrary too. Her business.
And the shop was also witchy.
It was supposed to be witchy, and they had that punk rock looking bitch who I like, by the way.
Right. Yeah, she was just
another character.
Like this harder-edged lady. Yeah,
another person.
Everything and nothing.
Yes, everything and nothing, and you can't remember who she is.
Another one.
The thing is,
I don't know. This movie, in my opinion, totally sucked. But I could really, there were moments where I was watching Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock and being like, I'm like, man, they're acting their faces off, but in a way that isn't cringeworthy. And they are both making these really cringeworthy moments work. And which was like surprising and respectable to me. I'm like these two actresses, they know what they're doing, but they are like professional actors showing up to set, killing it on these days, getting the takes and going home.
Do you want to know? This was Melissa Joan Hart's Sabrina the Teenage Witch meets Thelma and Louise.
Like this movie totally could have been done with like some subpar actresses and like who didn't have that giant star quality of Bullock and Kidman, and it would have been like
just as good.
I'm saying it would have been worse. It would have been totally worse and like painful to get through, but somehow Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman like salvage what they can. You know what I mean? I got that sense.
Well, overall, I think I kind of feel how you feel about this movie.
Yeah.
Are you part? I'm going to go ahead and assume you're not part of the cult following and would never watch it again.
I'm fine never watching it again. I have been aware of this movie because they like advertised it whenever it came out like so hard. I somehow avoided ever watching it until last night.
Did you enjoy at least any of it?
No, but I wasn't wanting to like kill myself. You know what I mean?
Let's see. And I was wondering too, I was watching this. I was like, John's going to hate this because I've already watched this movie. And so I had no problem going back because I remember liking it the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I can sit here and tell you it's not good.
Would you ever watch it again?
Probably.
Like if somebody was like, you want to watch Practical Magic? And you'd be like,
yeah, I would actually sit down and watch it again. I know it's garbage.
Because I feel like this is a real cult. This has a cult following. And I was aware of this cult following like throughout the years. Like people are like, oh my gosh, I love Practical Magic. I love that movie. But they almost say it knowing that it's a shitty movie that they like.
Oh, it's a shit movie that I like. I'm not going to deny that it's not. It is not winning any awards.
No, because you know what? On Rotten Tomatoes, they get 23%.
I feel like that might be generous too.
Right. But you know, it's a cult following because the audience score is 73%.
I know. And I feel like, I mean, it got a C by the audience. To me, I would give it about. Okay. So I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and give it my review. Now, based off of me liking the movie, I'm going to go ahead and jump on the C+ train. I'm going to give it about a 70. I'll give it about a 73 out of 100. There are some things that are unforgivable, like almost the entire movie is unforgivable, but I do enjoy Sandra Bullock and I do enjoy Nicole Kidman and all of the characters. I thought that the ants were great. I think the movie's a fun ride.
Yeah, because it's like you can tell Stockard Channing and Diane Weist are like fully self-aware that this is beneath them.
They're having fun though, which I think is why I like this movie.
And that's what I think is coming across is that Nicole Kidman, Sandra Bullock, and Diane Weiss and Stockard Channing all together in that scene. You almost get the sense that they're just like, this movie is fucking stupid, and we are just here, and we're gonna give it our professionalism and a good sense of humor, and we're just gonna have fun.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
That's what sort of reads and comes across.
In that moment, yes, in that scene, the Midnight Margaritas, I mean, obviously that's the case because that's not prop tequila. That is dirty Nicole Kidman tequila.
And Nicole Kidman was like, you know what, guys, I brought us a little present today because this movie sucks.
Because we have to continue rolling.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? We already gotten paid, honey. We already got hers.
Yeah, we already got hers.
We already had hers.
So here's the thing. I'm part of the cult following, but as far as my score goes, 1 out of 10, like, ragu filled cauldrons.
Yeah, it looked a little bit more like vodka sauce, but okay.
Oh, it kind of did. Actually, you're right. So vodka sauce filled cauldrons. I'm going to give this movie about 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give this about like 0.5. I'm going to give like half of 1.
You're going to give it, okay.
I'm going to give like 0.5 out of 10 young Evan Rachel Woods.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm not. I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna stick with my 3. My 3 vodka sauce cauldrons out of 10.
Right. But I mean, I'm looking at like these sort of like these fresh critic reviews, and anything that's not a rotten review is basically. Like people started re-reviewing it in 2019. I imagine 2019, or like 2020, people revisited this movie during the pandemic.
Probably. Almost certainly, actually.
Like CJ says a few films have such warmth and purity of heart, which are buoyed by its fabular storybook quality. I don't believe this guy.
Wait, no, John.
Is fabular a word?
Wait, let me tell you, I was actually fully convinced. I'm here for that review because that's the only thing you can say about it. There's nothing else you could say about it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it is heartwarming.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's heartwarming. They really make that point to warm the heart.
The cockles of the heart have been warmed.
And here's just one last one. Like from blood moons to self-stirring spoons and long luscious locks.
My God, I forgot the self-stirring spoon. I forgot about that. Okay, keep going.
And long luscious locks. The Owens women are a magical brood. Practical magic sets the stage for everyone's favorite family of witches with jilted Maria Owens and her broken heart curse. Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
Who wrote that? Who?
This is from, she looks very witchy. Her name is Sezin Kohler. And she is a multicultural Sri Lankan American uncertified scream queen.
Okay. You heard it from her.
Random lady on the internet.
You heard it here first, folks.
Anybody can be a journalist.
So I guess with that, like, that's practical magic, everyone.
You know what's practically magic?
How we made it through.
How it's already been 58 minutes. This is, I mean, you guys, you listened. You came, you heard.
They probably didn't came.
And so that's we were some mean girls uninterrupted.
I wouldn't even consider us mean. The thing is like we say every time. Oh, also, John, I love the Rotten Tomatoes reviews. We should do that every time.
Yeah, I do enjoy those. You get a nice mix of like legit reviews from the time and also current things.
John, I think
don't make any sense.
I do think that's something you should incorporate. So you guys are hearing it now. We're fleshing it out as we go. Yeah.
We're basically the new Rotten Tomatoes hunties. Get used to it.
Oh, dude,
instead of certified fresh, it's going to be certified hunty.
Yes. Certified hunty. This movie is not that.
Mean Girls Interrupted certified it as a hunty that doesn't stink so much.
Yes. Well, it's, it was something.
We'll work on the catchphrase.
We're gonna work it out.
Yeah.
This movie didn't work it out. In the meantime,
it tried to work it out. It eventually tried to. But anyway, Travis, I always love coming here and talking about movies with you.
Me as well. And if you guys enjoyed this, please comment, like, subscribe, send us an email like we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Send us a movie you want us to. And like we say, we have to close this out. We are not disparaging any of the people who do this.
All our opinions, obviously.
And we enjoy that people put the time and effort to make these things. Was the movie for us? It was for me. I'd watch it again, but it's not good.
I was fully here for Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, but then again, I am homosexual.
Yes, and that does happen. So with that, I guess, like, do you want to go?
Oh yeah, we got to go. And well, guys, that was Mean Girls Interrupted, and we'll see you next week. And we're gonna see you at the movies.
Roll the credits. Which.